YouTube? Heretic back again with another deck profile from Phantom Forces. This time I will be looking at Gengar, EX, Dragalge, Safeguard, Wobbuffet, shenanigans. If you guys didn't see my match video with Mike Newman, this deck has a horrendous matchup against the Bronzong Klinklang thing. It's not difficult to figure out why, but that aside, I think this is kind of a nifty little deck idea. Definitely, I feel like it's more potent than the Mega Gengar, which, again, I'll get into a set review to try and go over all that. But this one, we're on 4 Gengar EX, and we are mainly focusing on his second attack. Dark Corridor, which does 60 for a Psychic and 2 colorless, poisons their defending your opponent's active Pokemon, and then allows Gengar to jump back to the bench, a lot like the Donphan decks that we have seen recently, where the Donphan hits and then kind of a hit and run mechanic. We've seen Palkia EX do that in the past. So that's how Gengar's built. Not really having to worry about that darkness type weakness, which is really, really good that we don't have to worry about that so much. 3 Sigilyph, something you can jump into when Gengar jumps out of the active slot. Safeguard, again, Psychic type. We're already running Psychic Energy, so allows us to attack with him as well. His attack is decent, his ability is awesome, prevents him from being touched by EXs. So yeah, we use three copies of him. Next up, we use 2 copies of Wobbuffet. I was wrong when I was with what I thought this card did. This does indeed stop abilities on the field as well as in the hand and the discard pile while it is the active Pokemon. That's the catch, is that Gengar's attack is still not going to go through something like Safeguard or Plasma Steel or Intimidating Mane. But if you jump into a Wobbuffet, I mean, his attack is kind of whatever, but his ability mainly there to shut down your opponent's Pokemon's abilities on their turn, something like Red Signal if you're playing against Genesect, or, you know, maybe Bronzong, just so that it's not able to accelerate energies out of the discard pile. You force them to use what they have on the board and can attach from hand. Any decks that rely on using abilities on the player's turn, if your opponent's running something like that, you can use this to try to shut them down. And he has the nifty, affordable 2 retreat cost as opposed to a 3 retreat like Trevenant. And the reason that's such a big deal is because the Mystery Energy reduces a Psychic Pokemon's retreat cost by 2, which would basically act as a Floatstone on him, as well as the Floatstones we already play. So 2 Wobbuffets, also a great starter. Takes away other abilities like Jirachi, Execute, recurring from the graveyard, or sorry, discard pile, wrong game. Empoleon, being able to draw extra cards, so on and so forth. Just a lot of abilities that he takes away. And there's really only one thing that you have to be careful of when you use him in this deck, and that is that we do run on a 2/2 Dragalge line, and he will also take Dragalge's ability away from you. So there's a little, it's kind of a little, you know, like, what do you want to do here? Do you want to lock their abilities, or do you want to send up Sigilyph and let the poison and the you can't retreat kind of take effect? There's a couple different ways to kind of go about that. It's definitely could definitely seem counterintuitive, but I mean, it's just an idea right now that I'm kind of working on, and who knows, maybe Wobbuffet isn't the answer, but right now it seems to be kind of fun, so we're going to go with it for now. Supporters, 4 Professor Junipers, or Sycamore. Discard, draw 7, pretty good. Get 4 Ns for Shuffle Draw. Actually, just go ahead and place these here. 2 Colress for massive Shuffle Draw. 2 Skyla for Search. 1 Zerosic to get out of Garbotoad lock and just kind of discard whatever, like tools, special energies, whatever. And 1 Lysander. And we're also going to play 3 Verbank City Gyms because Gengar does poison, and we want to amplify that damage if we can. Also run 3 Hypnotoxic Lasers for the same reason. Again, amplifying that, or dealing the poison damage, because we're not always going to have that ability to retreat 100% of the time. We'd like to be able to deal some damage, if possible. 3 Versus Seekers to get back supporters. You got 14 supporter cards there. You got 6 different ones, so in a just world you'll have 6 different choices. Most of the time that won't be the case, but still a really good card. Too good not to use. 3 Ultra Ball. Search Pokemon out. Not really much else to say about that. 2 Megaphones, because Garbodor's a thing. 2 Enhanced Hammers, as this card makes its triumphant return, and I do believe it will have a pretty solid impact on the game. In extended format, it has a pretty big impact already, and you know, especially Virizion Genesect decks, being able to run those to counter their somewhat poor matchup against Plasma. This card is very good when it is around, and I expect it to remain very good for the foreseeable future. I also play Dowsing Machine. Get back any item, get back a Burbank City Gym, any trainer, any item support or whatever. It's like a 4th Versus Seeker and way more versatile at the cost of the double discard. 4 Float Stones, because you really just want to attack with Gengar, bring out Wobbuffet or Sigilyph, and then just retreat and attack with Gengar again. And we don't run Switch, so we need plenty of ways to get out of the active, and 4 Float Stones are right on par for that. And to go along with those 4 Float Stones, we also play 4 copies of the new Mystery Energy, which will have the same effect on everything in the deck as far as retreating as a Float Stone would, except for Dragalge, who it cannot be attached to, because he is a dragon type. So everything else, same effect there. You basically have 8 Float Stones. Then we run 4 double colorless energies, because Sigilyph and Gengar can both benefit from double colorless. It can also be used to retreat Wobbuffet if you whiff the aforementioned Float Stones and Mystery Energies. And then we play 4 basic Psychic as well. So this is, I mean, obviously, other than, like I mentioned, it has a really tough matchup against the Metal deck because of all the lockdown they can put on the board. But this is really, I think, the most effective way to play Gengar at the moment. Gengar's first attack for 1 colorless will drop 3 damage counters. We don't run the Dimension Valley because we're focusing on the poison aspect, so with Verbank, so just the 1 energy and then you can start dropping damage early. Also thought about Dusknoir in this deck. Originally had it in here along with Trevenant, decided it was just a little too clunky. Still potentially an idea though, especially with Gengar's 2 attacks working the way they do and with Dragalge's ability. But for now, this is the build we're looking at. Just very much a control aspect deck. Not really the kind of deck you would usually see me playing, but you know, definitely looks like it could be fun. That's about all I've got for you guys right now. That is Gengar, Dragalge, Sigilyph, Wobbuffet, Psychic Shenanigans from Phantom Forces, and I'm Heretic. I'll see you guys next time. Cheers!